On just a taste of fall here in downtown Charlottesville. The air is crisp, the humidity is gone, and I woke up this morning and it was 62 degrees outside. Took Max, our German Shepherd, for a little walk around the neighborhood and needed a little bit of a jacket on, and I felt blessed to be alive. I try to start the program by saying, anytime you're above the mud and living on this planet, it's an opportunity for you and I to work hard and help influence our destiny and our legacy through that effort. As Ahmad Hawkins always says, be great today. And that's certainly what we try to do. Do we succeed every day? No. Do we make mistakes? Yes. Certainly ask my wife about that. She knows more than anyone about that. But if the effort is there, you put your head on the pillow and you can go to sleep with no regrets. The execution might be right, but if the effort is there, the regrets won't be prevalent. We've got a lot to cover on today's show. Cole Hendrix, city manager here in Charlottesville. Unfortunately, he's in hospice care. I got a message from my friend, Lloyd Snook, and we don't always see eye to eye, but I have tremendous respect for Mayor Snook. Fortunate to see him quite often during the week. His office is about 30 feet away from our studio. We're in the same building in downtown Charlottesville, and he sent me an email, and anytime the mayor sends us an email, I read it closely, I listen to learn, and 99.9% of the time, his suggestions are applicable and on point, and this one's a good one. To start the program, I'll give you a taste of Cole Hendrix, and speaking of legacy, the impact he has had on this community. He was the city manager in Charlottesville, Virginia from 1971 to 1996. Much of what we enjoy in Charlottesville, including the downtown mall, Mr. Cole Hendrix was associated with. We'll give you a taste of Cole Hendrix as we try to honor his legacy on the program today, and we'll make an effort to welcome stakeholders in the community, past and present, to the I Love CVille Network to offer a glimpse of what Mr. Hendrix has offered and accomplished in the city that we all so dearly love. We'll talk on today's program, some of the follow-up and feedback from this week's show. Man, it was a short week, Judah. Monday we were off for Labor Day, so only 4 days of content creation on the I Love CVille Network, and I think it was one of the best weeks we have had in the years of doing these shows. We got to talk more Brackney, former police chief Brackney, who's throwing shade at the Albemarle County Police Department now on Twitter. Unfortunately, we had a bomb threat scare at Charlottesville High School. Got to talk about that. We'll chitter chatter on today's program some UVA football as they travel to face the Fighting Illini, 4 o'clock Saturday. Kickoff on ESPNU. The line is moved. Yesterday it was a 4.5-point favorite, Illinois. Now it's a 4-point favorite. A real test for the Wahoos. And a test next week for Tony Elliott's team as Old Dominion comes to Scott Stadium. So you got challenging opponents in weeks 2 and 3 here of the college football season for our beloved football team. A team we not only cheer for, a team we not only follow, but a team that we certainly realize has a really strong impact on our local economy when they're performing well. I asked you this question earlier in the week. Should Scott Stadium's seating capacity be reduced? The reason I asked that question, well, the home opener, a home opener when you have a starting quarterback that's a Heisman Trophy shortlist nominee, Brennan Armstrong. A home opener when you got a brand new head coach, Tony Elliott, who's from Clemson and Death Valley, a team that wins national championships, contends for ACC championships and national titles on the regular. And we had the entire upper deck basically empty on Saturday. Frustrating to the point that Tony Elliott, in his post-game interviews, basically said, "Hey, Wahoo fans, our players see the seats empty. What gives and what's going on? We need your support if we're going to turn this program around." So I ask you, the viewer and listener, should capacity be reduced? Put your comments in the feed. I'll relay them live on air. I know that's not a popular statement and a popular opinion. And I know it would cost a hell of a lot of money for the University of Virginia to reduce capacity. But they're spending a hell of a lot of money marketing, branding, and advertising a 60,000 plus seat stadium. And that effort, at the moment, is not yielding return on investment. We'll talk about that on today's program. I also want to chatter a story from Toast. Toast is the point of sale platform that many restaurants utilize. Toast, the point of sale platform, has said that restaurant sales are returning to pre-pandemic levels.
Yeah.
The challenge is the labor and the cost of goods for these restaurateurs. We'll talk about that on today's program. I also want to talk a Richmond, Virginia company laying people off. The layoffs are not just big tech. The layoffs are hitting close to home now. We'll let you know which one and what's going on. On today's show, we'll talk a state of emergency in New York. And the state of emergency is not COVID related. The state of emergency is polio related. You heard me correctly. Polio causing a state of emergency in New York as we speak. On today's show, we're going to spotlight Chesterfield County, Virginia. John Blair, the king of knowledge, one of our favorite viewers and listeners on the program, he tagged me in a tweet this morning, and when John Blair passes something on to me, the king of knowledge, the city attorney for Stanton, the former interim city manager in Charlottesville, the former city attorney here in Charlottesville, an all-around great guy, fantastic father and husband, and just a friend of the program. When he tags me or he sends me something, that content comes on the program no matter what. That's how much I respect and trust his judgment. This morning, he let me know that Chesterfield County is welcoming yet another major employer to its jurisdiction. Remember, Chesterfield County got the Lego plant. Remember we talked that earlier this year, Judah? The Lego plant coming to Chesterfield County, Virginia?
Yeah.
Well, now they're getting a nearly $28 million project that's going to create 51 new jobs from a nonprofit pharmacy. That story on today's show. And one of the things that terrifies and scares the absolute bejeebus out of me, we'll chatter on today's program, Citibank, following Bank of America, with a mortgage lending program focused on our Hispanic population and our African American population, a lending program that, again, no money down, no credit score needed, back credit okay, no mortgage insurance, under the guise or the branding of closing the racial and wealth gap. A program that scares the HE double hockey sticks out of me. We'll thank the Clifton and Keswick for being a part of the show. If you guys want a memorable dining experience, happy hour experience, a phenomenal experience for lodging or for events or for weddings, the type of experience that will resonate with your guests and your family alike, the type of experience that will undoubtedly create memories for generations to come, think the Clifton and Keswick. Our friends there treat you like royalty. Judah Wickower, if we can go to the two-shot, I'd like to welcome you to the program. A lot we've covered today, huh? Definitely. I thought you've done a hell of a job this week. Before we get to Cole Hendrix and his impact on this community, I'd like to ask you this question. What has stood out with you this week for some of the shows we've done? What has Judah learned this week? What have been some of the stories that have really stuck in your subconscious, in your crawl, in that big, beautiful brain of yours? Positive? Negative?
I've liked our discussion on the on schools, on the particularly the problems with hiring for buses. I don't know if you saw this. There was an interesting comment on one of the feeds. I don't remember which one, but I think it came in after the show was over. Someone, it was basically talking about how part of the problem with retaining bus drivers has more to do with the actual students. And apparently the students on the buses are terrible. Parents, if you're not teaching your kids good morals and how to not be tiny little a-holes, then you're part of the problem. Because apparently 2 bus drivers quit. Didn't just quit before or after their routes, they quit mid-route. Nobody is policing what the kids do on these buses, and I can't help but imagine that has at least some impact on trying to retain, retain people for this job. Oftentimes, and I think the person made this point as well, oftentimes because driving a bus is a part-time job, and obviously not one where you can just go in, do your job, and then go do something else. I mean, you've got to drive in the morning, then you've got to drive in the afternoon. This is a job that's often taken over by, not taken over, but this is a job that is often assumed by retirees, people that can spare the time and can use the income as a second source. Possibly don't need a full-time job, just some supplemental income. And if I was doing it and kids were cussing me out when they get on the bus and just being general terrors, you know what? I don't think I'd have much of a reason to stick around.
Well said. A topic that's flowing under the radar on this network, essentially quality of life at work.
Yeah.
And that quality of life is even more prioritized when the bus drivers are severely underpaid.
Yeah.
Kevin Yancey, are you watching the program today? If you're watching the program today, will you let me know with a comment in the comment section? I want to give you some props, Kevin. We've monikered Kevin the King of Waynesboro. Love to know if you're watching, Kev. He routinely asks us on this show to come up with a solution. A solution that is not associated with throwing money at a problem. Hey, Kev, your comments yesterday, I've been thinking about a lot. And I appreciate your fiscally conservative mindset. And you talked about this. What's a solution to the police officer issue? Got 27% vacancy rate in the Charlottesville Police Department, 33 officers missing from a full capacity department. Mm-hmm. We all know the difficulties of transportation with the school bus drivers and the school systems. So his suggestion is, or his question was, what is the solution besides just throwing money at it? And it's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's a question that I think leadership needs to ask, because if you just throw money at it, that money's going to have to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
And my argument yesterday was a reallocation of the budget, not necessarily raising taxes, but just allocating the budget more appropriately or strategically. But then I got to thinking of Kev's comment, and I was like, he's on point. And a couple of solutions I have, Kev, and I appreciate you really getting the hamster wheels spinning. Maybe the prioritization on the CDL is not so smart. Maybe these school buses that need these commercial driver's license that require education and schooling and time is not the best path to pursue. Perhaps instead the school buses should be traded for
smaller buses
smaller
that don't
ones.
require CDLs.
Smaller ones that don't require CDLs. That more folks in the school systems can drive.
Yeah.
I remember playing, I grew up playing a lot of soccer. And I remember our soccer coach, he took a team of, 20 from Williamsburg, Virginia, all throughout Hampton Roads. Heck, into Central Virginia when we were in the postseason. Maybe the shift from school buses and commercial driver's license to, I don't want to call it a cargo van, but I'm trying to offer the imagery of what it could be.
Yeah.
Is the way to go.
Yeah, and just you're saying just basically have a lot more of them, and they would service individual neighborhoods.
Yeah.
4 or 5 streets, pick up all the kids, head to school, almost like a large format. What do you call it?
It's like a carpool.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Like a parent carpool.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the path to pursue. Maybe if we consider these vans and these carpool scenarios that don't require commercial driver's license, you may get parents willing to drive.
Yeah.
Like our soccer coach, when he was driving our team around. Is that right, Juan? Juan and Kevin, you guys are watching the program. Is that 100% right? These guys are correcting me. You cannot transport children without a CDL. Is that right? I'm confident that our soccer coach didn't have a CDL in high school, though. And genuinely, you guys are teaching me here on the feed. Help me learn here. Kevin, Juan, how can the coaches drive the teams? How are the coaches able to drive the teams to and from games? Do the baseball coaches and the soccer I'm genuinely asking this question. You guys are teaching me literally in the moment. I'm reading the feed and learning from you guys.
I'm looking at something from the DMV, Virginia DMV, Virginia Supplement to the Commercial Driver License Manual, and it says here that if you plan to drive a school bus designed to carry fewer than 16 passengers, including the driver, you do not need to obtain a CDL or the passenger bus endorsement.
Okay,
however, you must have the school bus endorsement on your driver's license. So I don't know what's required to get that, but...
Can you paste that link into the feed of my Facebook page, Kevin and Juan? And yeah. Juan knows what's up. Juan's watching the program. He's a newer viewer of the show. Juan, you're earning a moniker and a name for the program. And it may be the king of transportation, Juan. Juan Sarmiento is watching the program as we speak, and he's leaving comments. He's a fleet technician, right, Juan, for the city of Charlottesville? Offer some perspective into what you do, Juan, for the city of Charlottesville. It says on your Facebook page, fleet technician. Juan, I have very much appreciated your comments of late. You have made our programs better, Juan. I would love to learn from you, Juan, and viewers and listeners, please. If you could share that link in the feed so Juan and Kev can see it.
It's in there.
Okay, he shared it. So Kevin and Juan, look at the link that Judah just put in the feed. He did it through my Facebook page. And this is from the DMV website. I'll read directly from Judah, what Judah just shared. Thank you for finding this on the fly, Judah. Literally, this is live programming. We're doing this literally on the fly. And it's a commercial driver's license manual. What page does it have the nitty-gritty that you were talking about so I can read to the viewers and listeners?
I'm looking for that now. Let's see.
If you can find it and read it on air, that would mean the world to me. And Kevin does make a point. When the coach was driving us to and from games, I was a kid. That was a long time ago. Juan says, yes, I repair all the city vehicles, including police vehicles, trucks, and other various equipment. So we're going to call Juan the king. Juan, I'm responding to your comment right now, and I'm saying this.
This is on page 4 under Virginia school bus drivers.
Okay, read it to the viewers and listeners. This link is in the Facebook comment section of my personal page. All right, read what you say. This is directly from the DMV.
Let's see.
Page 4, you said?
Yeah, page 4. It's under Virginia school bus drivers. To drive a school bus, you must be at least 18 years of age. You must also hold a valid blah, 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 depending on the weight and size. Could be issued as a Class B or a Class C. Additionally, you must have a passenger bus endorsement and a school bus endorsement on your CDL. Blah, blah, blah. If you plan to drive a school bus designed to carry fewer than 16 passengers, including the driver, you do not need to obtain a CDL or the passenger bus endorsement. However, you must have the school bus endorsement on your driver's license. Therefore, you will need to pass the school bus knowledge and skills tests. You will be restricted to driving buses designed to carry fewer than 16 passengers,
including the driver.
And this restriction will be printed on your license. And then it goes into fees.
Okay, so I'm just trying to come up with solutions. All I'm trying to do is brainstorm solutions here, guys. I'm not saying this is the right one. I'm just trying to brainstorm a solution that is different than just throwing money at the problem. Because anyone who watches this program knows that taxing citizens on rooftops and personal property is devastating and causes gentrification. And if you watch this program, you realize that I'm about as anti-taxes as anyone in this community. I'm for finding incremental revenue sources that alleviates the tax burden on you and I, the citizens. So I see coaches driving teams to and from games, and the coaches I know don't have the CDLs, and it looks like Judah on the fly has found that here's an opportunity for someone to drive a passenger van that can carry 15 kids, and you don't need a CDL to use it. Now, Kevin makes a really good point by saying if every bus can only hold 15 or 16 people, how many buses will it take? That's a great point. Yeah. It's hard to argue against that. There's no doubt the fleet would be exponentially larger. Go ahead.
There's also the point that what this talks about is an actual small school bus designed for fewer than 16 passengers. So I don't know what would happen with if you're talking about vans.
Juan has said he had to obtain a CDL. So we have a man with a CDL on the feed that is the fleet technician for Charlottesville City watching, and he says he does the repair work for the police vehicles, trucks, and other various equipment. So this is a very talented man, Juan Sarmiento, the king of transportation. And he said, I had to obtain my CDL as a condition of my employment, but I don't have the school bus endorsement. Kevin makes the point that if you have this massive fleet of these vans, as opposed to the school buses, you're going to have exponentially more automobiles or vehicles, on the balance sheet.
Yeah.
That the school systems are going to be required to maintain and repair, need fleet technicians like Juan to upkeep.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find potentially a solution to alleviate what is undoubtedly a problem. I got parents that listen to this show, and there's a lot of you that watch and listen to this show. We understand the responsibility that comes with this show. Pressure is a privilege. Pressure is a privilege. And these parents are saying our kids, Judah, are getting to school after first period is over. And they're getting home after 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Didn't somebody say yesterday that the school bus, the students were going to be delayed until almost noon?
Kevin Higgins.
Yeah.
Kevin Higgins has shared that.
I can't imagine going out and sending your kid out at, 8:30 in the morning to go wait for a bus and then have them riding around for 3.5, 4 hours.
Yeah. I mean, good night.
And that's just in the morning. I mean,
we talk about the devastating effects of COVID and these kids learning at home, their ABCs, their 1, 2, 3s, their algebra, trigonometry, or their U.S. history in the coat closet at their house.
Yeah.
What is the effects of kids spending 2 to 4 hours a day on a school bus?
Especially if enough of the kids are unruly and you're just,
we talk collateral damage associated with COVID and kids learning in public schools. What is the collateral damage of kids spending
half the day in a bus?
15 to 20 hours a week on a bus.
Yeah.
Maybe a stopgap or a short-term solution, or maybe like a Band-Aid solution or a piecemeal solution is these vans. And would you, who knows the mom in the neighborhood or the dad in the neighborhood that is like the carpool ringleader that goes around the neighborhood in the minivan or the Suburban and picks up 5, 6 kids, drops them off and picks them up from school because they're fortunate enough to be a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad?
Yeah.
And would those stay-at-home moms or those stay-at-home dads be willing to volunteer to drive one of these buses? They're already going to and from school. And instead of having 5 or 6 kids, they can have 15 in them.
The only problem I see with that is that they'd need to house the vehicle at their home.
Yeah.
There's a small chance that somebody's going to want to drive to school, pick up the vehicle, drive back to their neighborhood, pick everyone up, drive back to school.
That would be a good Samaritan parent. Like going above and beyond, right?
Yeah. No doubt.
We got to figure out some kind of solution, because spending 15 to 20 hours a week for a kid on a bus, you can make a legitimate argument, is going to have could have equivalent collateral damage as learning your ABCs, your 1, 2, 3s in the coat closet during the pandemic, learning remotely.
Yeah.
Trying to get creative and clever here. And I hate to say this. I really hate to say what I'm about to say. If kids are getting home, if kids are getting to school after missing first period, or worse, if kids are getting to school at lunchtime where they've missed multiple periods, then it's time to roll out virtual school again.
Yeah.
And remote learning again. Because you know what's worse than remote learning? Missing school altogether.
Yeah. 6, 7, 8 hours of, what would you call it? Just limbo?
Educational purgatory is what I would call it.
Yeah. Purgatory is a great word for it. Just sitting on a bus for
15 to 20 hours a week is educational purgatory.
Yeah.
You're not going to hell, you're not going to heaven, you're just sitting in, as Judah said, in limbo.
Yeah.
Get remote learning back online if that's the problem. Kevin Yancey says, Jerry, I'm a 30-year, 2 million mile CDL driver.
Wow.
The main issue, truthfully, is a lot of drivers from last year were medically disqualified to hold a CDL now. Why is that, Kevin? Is that because of age? I'm gonna respond to that, Kev. Is that because of age? Dude, I'm legitimately learning. We're both learning right now from the viewers and listeners. I love this talk show so much. I'm learning from you, Juan and Kevin, literally as we speak. Yancey, 2 million miles as a CDL and 3 decades with the CDL driving commercially.
That's impressive.
And he said most of the CDL drivers were disqualified last year, medically disqualified to hold a CDL. Why is that, Kev? Is it because of age?
It can't be because of age, I wouldn't think.
Well, why would they be medically disqualified? Why else?
I'm trying to think. I don't know.
Vanessa. Disqualified I'm Vanessa Parkhill, Queen of Earlysville watching. Disqualified drivers probably refused the vaccinations.
That's just what I was thinking, especially in
Vanessa,
light of,
there it is.
especially in light of our friend who was on the show earlier. Not earlier, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And Kevin says, with the CDL, you can have no medical conditions. You can't have diabetes. You can't use injectable insulin. And you can't have heat issues. Any of those problems medically, Judah, and you're disqualified for a CDL.
Interesting.
And Bill McChenzie, Wild Bill, says, man, you guys are so smart. I love you guys so much.
I'm curious why any large number of people would suddenly be disqualified.
That's a great question. Why did the disqualifications uptick in value, Kevin and Juan and Bill, last year versus previous years? Why was the vetting status so much more stringent? And they're saying a CDL driver must pass a physical test, a physical every 2 years.
I mean, that's fair. They're driving your kids. There are no seatbelts on buses. I would want someone to be fit and not in danger of
for sure
a sudden heart trouble or any other kind of trouble that would,
Kevin Higgins in Greenwood says, I don't like the idea of remote school, but there is an opportunity for a virtual day or two in school week for those students that can't manage it. We have 2 years experience learning virtually. Not popular, I know, but it's better than kids getting to school 2 hours late and scrambling after being on a bus or waiting for a bus all morning, then thinking about how bad the trip back home will be. Yeah, dude. Like, if you spend 90 minutes to 2 hours on a bus going to school, how miserable are you thinking when the school day is over and you're tired about getting on that bus again? It's like, it reminds me of like the worker that has to commute to and from work. The commute to work is one thing, but after you've grinded all day, then
you've got to drive.
Yeah.
And this is Charlottesville. Like, it's what, 10 square miles?
10.2.
And you're taking
the long bus drives, the long routes and bus drives are impacting Albemarle County more in Charlottesville because the county is so vast.
Yeah.
Versus the city being more confined and tight,
Right. Still, it's we're not talking dozens of miles.
And Juan Sarmiento, you guys just educated all of us. Juan said they changed the requirements recently.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
So they basically just shot themselves in the foot. Not that that's not necessarily a bad thing if they're, if they're concerned about the safety of the kids. It's definitely understandable, but still, they couldn't have picked a worse time.
What's that saying? It's like cutting your nose to spite your face.
Yeah.
Isn't that what this is?
Not necessarily.
We're going to make the rules so hard that people are going to quit, and then everyone's screwed.
Well, first of all, we don't have numbers on how many people actually got disqualified because of the new rules. So there is the question of how many people that took off the roster, and like I said, there's also the fact that they're doing it to keep the kids safe, and so it's hard to fault them for that.
Suppose. Well, I guess what we wanted to try to do, and it was because of the King of Waynesboro, was to try to come up with ideas that were outside of just throwing money at it. Mm-hmm. And these gentlemen on the feed have explained that perhaps this might not be the best solution. Maybe the solution is, if we're not throwing money at it, is for the kids that are spending so long on a bus, hey, you have the virtual school option again.
Yeah.
To learn. Now, I want to segue into a different topic, a topic sent to us by Lloyd Snook. If you want to go to the one shot, then we'll go back on the two. Cole Hendrix was Charlottesville's long-serving city manager. And unfortunately, he is nearing death from advanced pancreatic cancer. Mr. Cole Hendrix we've been told, may pass away in the next week or so. He was the city manager in Charlottesville, Virginia from 1971 to 1996. Mr. Cole Hendrix was the influence and the leadership behind the downtown mall, the building of the Omni Hotel, the creation of the Rivanna Water and Sewer Authority, the revenue sharing agreement with the county. Mr. Cole Hendrix, as Mayor Snook put it, brought Charlottesville from the era of doing business from the file cards in Jim Bowen's jacket pocket to a true modern management system. Our esteemed mayor, someone who I respect tremendously, who I'm very glad is running for re-election, who I hope folks will vote back into office when he does run for re-election, suggested a Cole Hendrix show with guests to include Frank Buck, David Toscano, Nancy O'Brien, and George Gilliam. This was before my time, but I can assure you, in particular the downtown mall, I'm grateful for Mr. Hendrix and his efforts. Kevin Higgins, the King of Greenwood, says this: Cole was also a top executive in the UVA health system. Kevin has met Cole, and he said instantly he thought he should run for governor. Wow, that's high praise right there. We will do our best to see if we can put a panel together to honor and to spotlight the legacy of this city manager. Bill McKenzie suggests Gary O'Connell as well as a guest. Thank you for that suggestion. I want everyone watching the program to understand the importance of the downtown mall. Can you look up the downtown mall, Charlottesville downtown mall in history? It might be on the Wikipedia page. Yeah. I believe there is only one other mall like this out there. Please correct me if I'm wrong. If my parents live in the Asheville area, and one of the towns I enjoy visiting is Hendersonville, North Carolina. Has anyone been to Hendersonville, North Carolina? Very close to Asheville. Anyone? Check out Hendersonville. It's very similar to Charlottesville. Hendersonville has a fantastic pedestrian mall. Breweries and restaurants and music venues and eclectic shops and just fun for family and singles and couples and everyone of all ages. Hendersonville makes me nostalgic of Charlottesville. Very similar. Very different politics, Hendersonville, than Charlottesville. Hendersonville leads much more to the right, where Charlottesville is like camping out on the left. Like it's set up tent. It's got an RV on the left, Charlottesville. Bill McKenzie says Winchester has a similar setup. If you see anything cool from the history of the downtown mall in Charlottesville, please just give me a highlight and go to a two-shot, and we can get some history on there. Curtis Shaver, one of the best chefs in Central Virginia, says Ithaca, Boulder, Charlottesville, and Burlington all have a mall and were designed by the same person and company. Damn, that's a good comment right there, Curtis Shaver. I'm responding to your comment in real time. Damn, that's a great comment. One of your best. And happy birthday to Curtis Shaver. Happy belated birthday to one of my favorite chefs out there, and I encourage anyone and everyone to go to Peloton Station, enjoy happy hour, wings, subs, spend your money locally with him. Multiple people are highlighting Winchester as a fantastic pedestrian mall. I guess the reason I bring up Cole Hendrix and the reason I bring up the downtown mall is this. At one time, the downtown mall was not pedestrian only. At one time, the downtown mall was the area of Charlottesville you did not go to because of safety concerns. And at one time, the downtown mall was an afterthought, boarded up, empty storefronts, crime-ridden. And now you look at the downtown mall, and it's the crown jewel of Charlottesville. We're 10.2 square miles, and that is our calling card. That is our sexy time. That's our sexy time, the downtown mall. Tourists, when they visit Charlottesville, where do they go? They go to the University of Virginia. You might see a little Monticello if you're a tourist, but you're certainly going to the downtown mall, right? And all of us in this community get to reap the benefits of decision makers like Mitch Van Yeries, like Cole Hendrix, like the David Toscanos of the world. And we should not take it for granted. Because convincing taxpayers to spend millions of dollars closing a shopping district, bricking it. Remember when they bricked the downtown mall? Does anyone remember when the project of bricking the downtown mall happened? Had to close sections of the mall to lay brick on the mall? I do. You remember how costly that was? Now it's the heartbeat. And for those that may not want to admit it, and a lot of people in this community do not want to admit it, and they don't want to admit it because of the politics associated with the city of Charlottesville and because of the collateral damage of August 12, 2017. There are so many in Central Virginia that say, I'm not going to Charlottesville, I ain't going there, I don't agree with the politics, I don't agree with the statue removal, I don't agree with the history, I don't agree with all this stuff that's going on. So many people say that. They say, I ain't ever visiting. Well, you know what? If you live in Central Virginia and you're in Louisa and you're Orange and you're Green and you're Madison and you're Gordonsville and you're Fluvanna and you're Nelson, guess what? Whether you want to admit it or not, your jurisdictions go as Charlottesville goes. And Charlottesville goes as the downtown mall goes. And those are facts. Those are facts, and those are facts. You may live in the outer counties, but I can assure you, if Charlottesville, Virginia struggles and the downtown mall struggles, that's going to undoubtedly spill and creep over into your outer county. And I'm mentioning this not to create animosity or beef, but I'm just saying, look, Central Virginia is Charlottesville. You tell people you live in Albemarle County, and people are like, what? I can't even say that word. Is it Albermy? People can't even say it. My dad can't even say Albemarle County. Literally can't even say Albemarle County. And Judah's like, well, the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. Did you hear Jerry saying Minneapolis yesterday? Can you go to the two shots so we can get jovial and laughing, Judah? Is that not what you were thinking?
No, I was thinking of McKenzie.
Yeah, Bill McKenzie. Judah says to me, damn it, Jerry, it's McChesney. What was I saying with Minneapolis? I'm still saying it wrong, aren't I?
Yeah. That's exactly how you were saying it.
How do
wrong.
I say it?
There's no N in the middle. It's Minneapolis.
Minneapolis.
Yeah. Somebody commented yesterday about the funniest part of the show yesterday.
Yeah, it was Katie Pearl. Katie Pearl. Katie Pearl, are you watching the program? We love you, KP. I just accepted Mike Pearl's friend request, KP. Katie Pearl, if you're watching, let us know, my friend. We love you. Minneapolis.
If I pronounced it wrong, I'd never hear the end of it because my mom was brought up there.
We need to get Ma Dukes on the program.
Man.
Ma and Pa Dukes on the program.
That would be wild.
Ma and Pa Dukes Wickauer on the program.
They've got some stories, that's for sure.
Minneapolis came up yesterday because of the Dr. Rashal Brackney finalist for the police chief job.
Yeah.
Dr. Brackney on Twitter is throwing shade to the Albemarle County Police Department.
Recently? Or is this the same old...
Within the last 2 weeks. This is what she said, this. Want to hear this?
Sure.
Rashal Brackney suing the city of Charlottesville for $10 million, claiming she was fired because she was a black woman. This is the shade she throws at the Albemarle County Police Department. She says, and I quote, Albemarle PD then proceeds to tag them in the post, the police department. She says, Albemarle PD, home of the PBA, the Police Benevolent Association. I think that's a reference to friend of the program, Mike Wells. She says, Albemarle PD, home of the PBA, is a safe haven for Charlottesville PD and SWAT officers terminated for racist, misogynistic conduct, like this photo Godfrey shared on his city-issued cell. In the photo, you want to put the photo up? Go to Brackney's Twitter account, put the photo up. The photo is a meme, and the meme says, this is ridiculous. How is this person sharing this content on her Twitter account and a finalist for a police chief job? Can you put this up?
I'm looking.
I just don't understand how this is the world. This is the world, 2022. Let me know when that's on screen. Bill McChesney says Mayor Charles Barber broke ground on the downtown mall with a jackhammer. That's awesome. God, I wish I was there then. The courage and vision and the gumption and the thick skin to take an afterthought and convert it into a pedestrian mall with millions of dollars of taxpayer dollars, millions of dollars of taxpayer revenue. I mean, good Lord. Can the viewers and listeners, this is before my time here. I arrived in Charlottesville in 2000 as a first year at the University of Virginia. I've been here 22 years now. Wow. There's no place I've lived longer in my life than Charlottesville. 22 years I've lived here. But this was before my time. Can the viewers and listeners that are watching and listening to the program help characterize for us what the dynamic was, or what the mood was, or what the friction, the negativity was of creating the downtown mall? If you could put that perspective in the feed, I would love to relay it live on air. The king of transportation, Juan Sarmiento, says, Brackney is showing her true colors, more to the reason she was fired.
What's the date on the tweet you're talking about?
It is August 25th. If you click tweets and replies instead of just tweets, you'll see the meme. You see it?
Let's see.
If you click tweets and replies, it's the either 4 or 5 down. I mean, this is crazy. Who sings that song? And this is crazy. So here's my number.
Is
So
the one
call
with
me,
the
maybe.
cop slid down in the chair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you looking at that?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Put it on screen, if you could, please.
I'm getting it.
I mean, is this not childish? How is this not being vetted? How is this? This is a public account.
I'm not even sure what it means.
I don't even know what it means, but I know it's not professional.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? I have no idea what this means, but I know it's not professional. Tell us when it's on screen, if you could. Get ready, viewers and listeners. Buckle up. Sit down and put your seatbelt on. Once you see this. I would love if you'd share that story, King of Transportation. King of Waynesboro says, the downtown was thriving at the time. There were department stores, restaurants, Leggett's, Belk, Miller and Rhodes, the Young Men's Shop, Page Foster's, etc. at downtown. So how controversial was it, guys, creating the mall? I should do a show. We should do a show on the history of the downtown mall.
Yeah, well, I think everybody thought it was just, what did they called it a boondoggle.
What's the exact definition of a boondoggle? Well, you got to get that photo on screen because the viewers and listeners are itching to get this on screen. All Google. Right. A great set. It just comes off my tongue. Boondoggle. Work or activity that is useful or pointless but gives the appearance of having value. Waste money or time on unnecessary or questionable projects. A boondoggle. Is the efforts of affordable housing a boondoggle? Or is that just
I don't think so.
double talk utilized by politicians to win elections?
You'd probably have to specify the particular project.
Yeah, that'd be particular, yeah.
I think in most cases it hopefully is not a boondoggle.
I'm counting 13 people asking for you to get the meme on screen, please.
It's coming.
My phone is freaking blowing up over here. Please get the meme on screen. Oh, man.
Let's see.
He's coming. It's coming. This is a live talk show. Literally, we're doing this on the fly. Not planned. All we do when we do these talk shows is we have 6 or 7 bullet points.
All right.
And then we just adapt to you guys. That literally is what we do. It's content that is unduplicated, unmatched, unreplicated in this community. It's on screen.
Just about.
It's about. Give me the thumbs up so I can say, look at the screen. Look at the screen. This is from former police chief Brackney's Twitter account. She's a finalist for the job in Minneapolis. Did I say it right?
You did.
Minneapolis. Keep it on screen. How? Why? How and why would you do this?
It's
How is this not
boondoggling.
How is this not like a red flag? Can someone help me understand, please? You got an active $10 million lawsuit and you're tweeting this? And throwing shade at the police department? Help me understand. Would that not raise a red flag for you? What does this even mean? Does anyone look at the screen?
So I'm looking at it now, and
when you shotgun a bang and snort a Viagra?
So
why would you snort the Viagra?
Okay, so the thing is, I think she's saying in the tweet that this image was shared by Godfrey, who the poster above her is saying.
I understand that, but why would she amplify it and then associate it with the Albemarle County Police Department?
Yeah, that's fair. Right?
And I've said routinely on this program, we stand with blue. How many? And that creates a world of you know what for me making that comment. A world of hate I get for making that comment on this show.
Mm-hmm.
A boatload of hate, a comment I get for making that comment on the show. But I'm not going to change my stance of standing with the blue because I can't think of many other professions where you leave the house and you have to wear bulletproof vests and have a gun to protect yourself in the community. And you're unsure if you're going to get back safe and sound or alive. And a profession that's vastly underpaid. A profession that maintains quality of life for us. I don't have that risk. Do you? I'll speak for you on this time. No?
Say it again? No, I don't have any problem with cops.
What's the biggest risk you have coming to work or at work? Maybe me being a little cranky?
A little. Yeah, I'd say that's that's the long and the short of it.
Me being a little cranky? Oh, that nod says 1,000 words. 10 years, 10 plus years of working alongside each other. Oh, I just don't get it. I don't get how these topics aren't coming up in the search process. Oh, Lordy. Only in 2022. Only in 2022 can you sue your employer for $10 million, throw massive shade at your previous employer in the jurisdiction next to you, and then be on the short list for a job that has higher pay in a larger market. Pretty much what's happened here. A couple other topics I want to get to. We predicted this on Tuesday. Judah sent us the topic about Bank of America offering programs where it's no money down, no credit score. And I said, keeping up with the Joneses. Others will follow.
Someone's going to do it.
Didn't I say that?
Yeah.
I said it. Citibank, now doing it. Bank of America and Citibank are doing it. You know who's coming next? A little JP Morgan action. A little Truist action. And when you put no money down, let's forget the maintenance issue, which we've covered so well, the roof, the HVAC, the appliances.
Mm-hmm.
Judah said this perfectly. If the home drops in value, the skin in the game is not there, so the likelihood of walking away is more great than those that have money down on the crib.
Especially leading into a recession.
We're going into a recession.
Yeah.
We're in a recession.
I mean, I'm guessing that a lot of these people are not going to have recession-proof jobs.
Right.
And
I mean, one of the stories we're going to cover here is the Richmond company Snag-a-Job. I mean, Snag-a-Job is a Richmond company, a homegrown tent company that is laying off 40 people. Announced yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Laying off 40 people.
And perhaps, ironically, their business model is helping people get jobs.
Yeah. Bravo. Say it again. Snag-a-Job, a homegrown tech company known for its online job board for hourly workers, is laying people off.
Yeah.
That is sad irony. The company helping people find jobs is laying off people and their jobs.
Yeah.
Well said.
Everybody's tightening their belts.
Well said.
So what happens when you buy a home with
the
no money down?
Hiring companies laying people off.
Your house loses value. Heaven forbid you lose your job or get your hours cut.
Medical situation.
Yeah. Almost anything. I mean, at this point, especially if you hadn't, hadn't saved any money.
The margin is like an eyelash. The margin is an eyelash.
Yeah. And
how do we not see this? The banks are exploiting the weak.
And they're known for that. I mean, coming out of the last the time of great unpleasantness, I'm pretty sure that I actually read something about this recently. I don't remember if Citi was included, but I know that J.P. Morgan and the big one,
Bank of America.
Yeah, Bank of America. They got, I think, something on the order of.
You're talking bailouts.
$2 trillion in bailouts each.
For those
they were the largest of the recipients of bailouts. Think of that, $2 trillion each.
What does that compare to GDPs in the world, country by country?
I'm sure it beats a lot of them. And this is for making bad bets. So, I mean, just making bad bets with your money.
What's the United States GDP? United States GDP 2020. You want to take a gander at what it is? Who wants to take a bet what the GDP is, the gross domestic product of the United States in the year 2020?
I don't know, 50 trillion?
20.9 trillion.
That was a little high.
Where do you think the United States ranks in the world?
I'd say we're at the top.
We're number one.
Yeah.
China's 2, Japan 3, Germany 4. And what trillions of dollars you said the banks got?
I'm pretty sure they got somewhere on the order of like 2.3 and like 2.1 trillion.
10% of the nation's GDP in bailout?
Yeah.
Guys. Guys. State of emergency in New York. You saw that, right, Judah?
Yeah.
New York State has declared a state of emergency. Declared it today. They want to boost polio vaccination rates. The polio virus has been detected in sewage water. 4 counties in the New York metro area, as well as the city itself. The counties include Rockland, Orange, Sullivan, and now Nassau counties. Polio in the sewage water.
Mm-hmm.
What's next? Scurvy?
I read recently that the CDC is investigating a case of someone dying with monkeypox, though I don't know.
Monkeypox, scurvy, polio, swine flu, the bird poop disease.
Avian flu?
Avian flu. Where are the locusts? Are the locusts around?
Yeah.
Where are the locusts?
All we need now are some.
What were the plagues in the Bible? This was from a past show. You educated all of us.
I don't know if I can remember all of them, but there were frogs. There were.
Who are the frogs?
Locusts. There was blood in the river. There was.
I'm googling it.
Boils.
You're better. Keep going. You're doing a great job.
Boils.
Boils.
Darkness.
I don't want any boils.
One of them was darkness.
Fiery hail.
Fiery hail. I'd forgotten about that one. So that's
lice.
Lice.
The 10 plagues in the book of Exodus.
Well, I got 5. So
you did really well. Your Sunday school teacher would be proud of you.
And then, of course, the last one was firstborn sons.
That's me. That's you.
Yeah.
That's both of us.
Yeah, but only if you forgot or refused to sacrifice a calf or a lamb and paint its blood over your doorpost.
Which plague terrifies you the most? I don't want any boils, man. Keep them boils away from me. Them boils scare the hell out of me. I don't want no boils. Boils. Ew. Boils.
Locust is pretty terrifying as well, although that actually happens, I think, on a fairly regular basis in the world these days.
Painful boils all over your body. Ooh. I can deal with fiery hail.
In fact, I think China killed quite a few of its citizens by screwing up. They didn't like finches or no, I think it was sparrows. There was like a countrywide push to kill sparrows. The problem being that once they had killed too many sparrows, the locust population blew up out of control.
Because the sparrows kept the locusts
and destroyed crops, which led to like massive starvation. Pretty terrible.
I don't want any boils.
I don't either.
I don't want boils. Sores all over my body. Get your vaccination. Get your polio vaccination. Please
yes.
Get your polio vaccination. How are we still in the world where people don't have polio vaccinations? I thought it was isn't it a requirement to go to school that you have a polio vaccination?
I don't know.
Moms and dads, viewers and listeners watching the program, aren't you required to have a polio vaccination to go to school? Does the polio vaccination expire?
No. And I was just reading something about it. I think you can, you can get the boosters pretty much at any time.
Get the freaking vaccination. Who wants polio? Not me.
Who wants to be paralyzed for the rest of your life? Definitely not me.
Good night. State of emergency in New York. How about this piece of news? Chesterfield County, which is right around the corner from us. Ooh. Oh, I like this. Jim Hingley watching the program. I love you, Jim Hingley. Albemarle County Commonwealth's attorney. He says, panel discussion about the original debate to build the downtown pedestrian mall in Charlottesville, Virginia. It should feature Charles Barber, Bern Ewert. Am I saying his last name right, Jim? Bern Ewert, George Gilliam, and Cole Hendrix, moderated by Coy Barefoot. That would be fantastic. Bern Ewert was assistant city manager who was instrumental in development of the mall. I believe he still lives in Charlottesville. Excellent stuff. Jim Hingley. Great suggestion. We got some smart attorneys that watch the show. Jim Hingley, Lloyd Snook, Scott Aaronworth. He suggests Charles Barber, Bern Ewert, and George Gilliam, moderated by Coy. I would gladly give up this mic if Coy wants to make the trip from Richmond to moderate that panel. Gladly would do it. Coy is talented. And he says, Bern was assistant city manager who was instrumental in developing the mall. And Jim believes he still lives in Charlottesville. I'm sending you the heart emoji back, Jim. Right here, I'm giving you the hearts, buddy. Hearts. Enter, publish, send it to Jim. Sent you 4 hearts, Jim. Love you. Just sent the hearts to the Commonwealth's attorney. Wow.
Nice.
I forgot another attorney. King of Knowledge. John Blair watches the program. We've got some smart attorneys on the show. Aaronworth, Hingley, Snook, and Blair.
Yeah.
Love these dudes. John put this topic on my radar. King of Knowledge, John Blair. He tags me in a tweet about Chesterfield County this morning, and Chesterfield County is getting the $28 million investment that's going to create 51 new jobs from Civica. I know I'm butchering that last name. It's a nonprofit drug maker. How would you say Civica? I would think it's Civica.
Yeah. That would be my guess.
Civica is coming to Chesterfield County, $28 million. $28 million to develop the situation, 51 new jobs. Remember, Chesterfield County just got the Lego plant, and Lego is going to invest $1 billion into Chesterfield County, creating a plant that's going to create 1,760 new jobs. Glenn Youngkin announced that this summer in June. A $1.7 million square foot manufacturing facility bringing over 1,700 jobs to the region, a world-class facility, $1 billion. Chesterfield County, man, you are like, I'm as bullish on Chesterfield County as I am on Danville. I see you watching Travis Hackworth, Comeback City, Danville, Virginia. Danville's hot, red hot. Dan Vegas, the Comeback City, Lee Vogler making big-time moves. That's 2 major employers coming to Chesterfield County.
Nice.
2 major employers. Virginia football's at Illinois. Saturday, 4 o'clock kickoff, ESPNU. Wahoos are a 4-point underdog. They were a 4.5-point underdog yesterday. The line is moving in favor of the Wahoos. First test of the season. I don't care what you say, Richmond's not even close to a test compared to Illinois and the Fighting Illini, especially since this game is on the road. Let's pull for the Wahoos because that team, when good, drives value for the local economy, and that's paramount at a time of recession. I want to close the show with Judah and what you learned this week, today, and anything you want to offer the viewers and listeners.
Oh, man. What did I learn today? I learned that our kids need some help. When I was talking to my friend who was up until just the last. Well, he finished the last school year as a teacher, and decided not to go back, and he confirmed.
Decided not to go back to being a teacher?
Yeah, and he confirmed with me. I talked to him. I was talking to him last night, and I mentioned the thing about the kids being absolute terrors on the school bus, and he confirmed it. He said they're terrible. He said you can't do anything with them. He said you're not allowed to. They have their phones. You're not allowed to touch their phones. He said kids will sit in class with earbuds in. They'll be vaping in class.
Stop.
Yeah.
Kids are vaping in class?
Yeah. And he
Is
said,
this a local school system?
Yeah, this was. I think he taught at Charlottesville High School.
What?
Yeah. He said you kids are just out of control. If they don't want to behave, they don't. If they don't want to listen, they don't. He said if you try to run if you try to do something about it, if you send them to the office and try to get some disciplinary action going, they just send them right back. They don't do anything.
They just come back to the classroom? You're telling me you can put your earbuds in, stay on your phone,
yeah,
and puff the magic dragon, and people don't bust balls?
Teachers can't do anything about it.
You're telling me you can listen to Pandora and Spotify, play Wordle, and hit the hippie lettuce, and you don't get in trouble?
Can't do anything about it.
You're telling me you can watch YouTube with your earbuds in, stream a little Netflix and Virgin River, not listen to your U.S. history Mr. Joyce teach you about the Civil War, and you're hitting the shrubbery, and you don't get kicked out of school?
I don't know about shrubbery. Yeah,
dude, let me tell you right now. Very difficult to tell the difference between vaping tobacco and vaping the green.
That's fair. I'm just saying that he didn't say anything about kids, smoking up in class. So I'm not, he said he was vaping. Yeah.
It's extremely difficult to decipher between.
No, I get it.
Tobacco.
I'm just saying
and the hippie lettuce.
That's a leap of logic that I'm not making because that's not what I was told.
I'm just saying.
I'm sure there are probably kids doing it.
Hitting the shrubletta and not the tobacco.
Could be.
They're hitting the hippie lettuce.
Could be. I don't know. These are not facts.
Dude, that would be so demoralizing. If you were in AP US history and Mr. Joyce had a fantastic plan to tell you about the positive impacts that Harriet Tubman had on ending slavery, and then you looked in the front row and you saw a bunch of 16-year-olds watching Virgin River playing Wordle with earbuds in and vaping the hippie lettuce.
Yeah.
You did a hell of a job this week.
Thank you.
Today was our best one. You liked it because it was conversational, right?
Yeah, of course.
Is that why?
Yeah.
You liked it because it was conversational?
Yeah, because it's actually a meaningful discussion.
Okay, that's fair. Respect and appreciate that. So I get excited.
Yeah, we noticed.
All right, you guys have a good weekend. Truly a pleasure to connect with you guys on the I Love CVille Network. We just enjoyed doing the show and connecting with you and being a champion for the underdog and showcasing the best of Charlottesville and Central Virginia. It's a lot of fun. And I appreciate your viewership and your participation and making the program better. We'll keep working hard for you. We just ask that you participate and spread the word. For Judah Whitcower, my name is Jerry Miller. Listen to Mr. Joyce. Teach you about U.S. history. Put the iPhone and the earbuds down and stay away from the hippie lettuce when you're in AP U.S. history, please. Please. Please.